Hello, this is State Representative Jay Reedy, and I've got an update on what's going on in the different states as far as industrial hemp. And this report will cover several states, the current legislation that's in place if they're doing anything, and it will touch on some of what we're doing here in the state of Tennessee. State legislators have taken action to establish state-licensed industrial hemp programs and promote hemp as an agriculture commodity in recent years. A wide range of products, including fibers, textiles, paper, construction and insulation materials, cosmetic products, animal feed, food, and beverages, all may use hemp. While hemp and marijuana products both are species of the cannabis plant, and marijuana products both are species of the cannabis plant, hemp is typically distinguished by its lower concentration of THC. Federal action. The 2018 Farm Bill changed federal policy regarding industry hemp, including the removal of hemp from the Controlled Substance Act and the consideration of hemp as an agriculture product. The bill legalized hemp under certain restriction and expanded the definition of industrial hemp from the last 2014 Farm Bill. The bill also allows states and tribes to submit a plan and apply for primary regulatory authority over the production of hemp in their state or in their tribal territory. A state plan must include certain requirements such as keeping track of land, testing methods, and disposal of plants or product that exceed the allowed THC concentration. Previously, the 2014 Farm Bill defined industrial hemp and allowed for state departments of agriculture or universities to grow and produce hemp as part of research or pilot program. That's what we have here in the state of Tennessee. It's a pilot program. Specifically, the law allowed universities and state departments of agriculture to grow or cultivate industrial hemp if, number one, the industrial hemp is grown or cultivated for purpose of research conducted under an agriculture pilot program or other agriculture or academic research, and number two, the growing or cultivation of industrial hemp is allowed under the laws of the state in which such institute of higher education of agriculture is located and such research occurs. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, in consultation with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency, the DEA, and the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, released a statement of principles on industrial hemp in the Federal Register on August 12, 2016. On the applicable activities related to hemp in the 2014 Farm Bill. State action. And I am getting this, so this information is coming from the National Conference of State Legislatures. State action. State policymakers have taken action to address various policy issues: the definition of hemp, licensures of growers, regulation and certification of seeds, statewide commission, and legal protection of growers. At least 41 states have enacted legislation to establish industrial hemp cultivation. 2018 legislative update. At least 38 states considered legislation related to industrial hemp in 2018. These bills range from clarifying existing laws to establishing new licensing requirements and programs. At least 6 states, Alaska, Arizona, Kansas, Missouri, New Jersey, and Oklahoma, enacted legislation in 2018 establishing hemp research and industrial hemp pilot programs. Georgia created the House Study Committee on Industrial Hemp Productions. States already allowing for industrial hemp programs continued to consider policies related to licensure, funding, seed certification, and other issues. For example, Tennessee amended its commercial feed law to include hemp. That was an interesting bill last year that I put through the House. We did get it passed by Senator Sutherland, co-sponsors by Senator Nicely and Bowling. Public State of Tennessee Public Chapter number 673, also known as House Bill number 1875, by Representative Reedy, and a co-sponsor was Representative Love. And I read, commercial feed means all materials except unmixed seed, whole and unprocessed, when not adulterated, within the meaning of this chapter, that are offered for sale as feed or mixing for feed, provided that the Commissioner by regulation may exempt from this definition or from specific provisions of this chapter commodities such as hay, straw, stover, silage, cobs, husk, hulls, industrial hemp, and individual compounds or substances when those commodities, compounds, or substances are not intermixed or mixed with other materials, and except for industrial hemp are not adulterated within the meaning of this chapter. I wrote a letter to the Department of Agriculture and I said, okay, with this hemp plant, can I feed it to my livestock, my cattle? They said yes. The cousins have a cattle farm not far from us, and so with that I said, okay, can I give any of it away to somebody else to feed to their livestock? And the answer was no. Therefore, I couldn't give it away, I couldn't sell it, and then that brought this House Bill 1876, now known as Public Chapter number 673, that allows, in the state of Tennessee, you can buy what's left over and feed it to livestock. So let's get back to what other states are doing. 2017 legislative update. 38 states and Puerto Rico considered legislation related to industrial hemp in 2017. These bills range from clarifying existing laws to establishing new licensing requirements and programs. At least 15 states enacted legislation in 2017. Arkansas, Colorado, Florida, Hawaii, North Dakota, Nevada, New York, Oregon, South Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, and Wyoming, at least 4 states, Florida, Nevada, New Mexico, and Wisconsin, authorized new research or pilot programs. 2017 was the year that I got the bill passed, House Bill 1164, which is allowing Tennessee to do all that they are currently doing with the industrial hemp. Next, we're going to go to state laws related to industrial hemp. Defining hemp. State statutes, with exception of West Virginia, define industrial hemp as a variety of cannabis with a THC concentration of not more than 0.3%. West Virginia defines hemp as cannabis with a THC concentration of less than 1%. There's the difference, 0.3% or 1%. My opinion here, a lot of, let's say that your state, there's this hemp is growing wild, and if it's growing wild, it's known as ditchweed. So in East Tennessee, there's this ditchweed that's growing wild, but because it's higher than 0.3%, we cannot do anything with it. My belief for the state of Tennessee, we need to, and maybe in your state, it needs to be at 1%. It'll allow for more research, more seed breeding programs. Currently, we're trying to work on landrace varieties of Tennessee hemp seed in the state of Tennessee, with Tennessee State University doing a lot of research on this. Also busy with research is Middle Tennessee State University, as well as the University of Tennessee. Research and pilot programs. States have passed laws creating or allowing for the establishment of industrial hemp research or pilot programs. State agencies and institutions of higher education administer these programs in order to study the cultivation, processing, and economics of industrial hemp. Pilot programs may be limited to a certain period of time and may require periodic reporting from participants and state agencies. Our pilot program is being run through the University of Tennessee. Some states establish specific regulatory agencies or committees, rules, and goals oversee the research programs. States may also require coordination between specific colleges or universities and the programs. In other states, coordination is optional. From 2015 to 2016, 7 states enacted legislation to create hemp research or pilot programs, including Pennsylvania, which their House bill was 976, and Hawaii Senate bill and Hawaii Senate bill 2659. While industrial hemp research and pilot programs typically focus on studying the cultivation, processing for certain products and economic impacts of hemp, some states have specific guidelines and intended goals. Here are some examples of unique state research goals. Colorado, Senate Bill 184, which was in 2014, created an industrial hemp grant research program for state universities to research and develop hemp strains that are best suited for industrial applications and development new seed strains. Colorado, another bill, Senate Bill 109, which was passed in 2017, directed the Commissioner of Agriculture to create a group to study the feasibility of hemp products use in animal feed. Kentucky's Industrial Hemp Research Program studies the environmental benefit of or impact of hemp, the potential use of hemp as an energy source or biofuel, and the agronomy research being conducted worldwide relating to hemp. The North Carolina Hemp Commission studies the best practices for soil conservation and restoration in collaboration with 2 state universities. Licensing, registration, and permitting. To comply with state regulations for commercial and research programs, growers must be licensed, registered, or permitted with the state agency overseeing the program. Requirements for registration, licenses, and permits might include criminal background checks, periodic renewals, usually every 1 to 3 years, registering the location or GPS coordinates of grow sites. And I had to do that as it was a GPS coordinates of my farm, so they knew exactly where to come. So if law enforcement did a flyover and they saw this hemp field, they know it was hemp and not a marijuana crop. Record keeping and reporting any sales or distributions, including to whom it was sold or distributed, including processors. The amount of processors, there's over 3,000 applications were submitted to the Department of Agriculture here in Tennessee. Just recently, February 15th was the closing window to request a permit or to register as a processor, and it was over 3,300 permits, with about 20% of those, I was told by the department, were for the processors. Okay, we'll continue on. The state agencies overseeing these programs are typically authorized to conduct inspections, test the plants, and review records. State agencies may revoke license and impose civil and criminal penalties against growers who violate regulations. Seed certification and access. Access to viable seed may present a challenge for research programs and commercial growers. To implement commercial and research hemp programs, farmers need access to seeds that are guaranteed to produce plants that fall under the legal definition of hemp. These seeds can be difficult to obtain, however, because hemp is still regulated under the Federal Controlled Substances Act. In response to this problem, Colorado's governor sent a letter to the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture in 2014 requesting the federal government address hemp seed regulations. States are taking independent action to regulate industrial hemp seeds. Certified seeds are usually defined as seeds that contain less than 0.3% THC or produce hemp plants that contain less than 0.3% THC. The crops that I had 2 varieties. My first time growing it, so the 2 varieties of seed that I have had planted on my farm, one was an Italian variety and the other was a French variety. And before I planted, I did a lot of research, and of course at this time you could only get seed from a foreign source. I couldn't buy it from another state. You know, we're close to Kentucky, so I couldn't get the seed out of Kentucky. And I heard we could get seed out of Canada, but Canada's seed does not grow well, or so I was told, here in Tennessee. So that's why I shied away from it and come up with a French and an Italian variety. At least 4 states have also established specific licenses or certification programs for hemp seeds distribution and producers. California requires seed breeders to register with their local county agriculture commissioner. Indiana allows growers who obtain an agriculture hemp seed production license to produce seeds. Licensees may then sell seeds or retain them to propagate future crops. Maine allows the Commissioner of Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry to issue license to seed distributors if their seeds are from a certified seed source. Oregon requires growers who produce hemp seeds capable of germination to register with the Oregon Department of Agriculture if they intend to sell seeds. Growers who wish to retain seeds do not need to register as a seed producer. The bill, House Bill 1164, that I was able to get passed both in the House and the Senate, it covers this seed registration use as well. So upon passage of that, that would allow a registered seed producer to sell seed to those who want to grow in the state of Tennessee. State statutes and public acts on industrial hemp research and cultivation. This is going to go down through state by state. Alabama, the summary of that bill, and it's showing a year of 2016, creates an industrial hemp research program overseen by the Alabama Department of Agriculture and Industries to study hemp. The department may coordinate the study with institutions of higher education. Alaska statute, it lists several others. It directs the Commissioner of Natural Resources to adopt regulations relating to industrial hemp, including approved sources or varieties of seed testing requirements, specific registration requirements, and allows activities for registered producers of industrial hemp. Directs the Department to establish fee levels to cover regulatory costs and annually review the fee levels. Allows for the creation of a pilot program by an institution of higher education or the Department of Natural Resources. Defines both industrial hemp and cannabidiol, amends the definition of hashish, oil, and marijuana, clarifies that the addition of industrial hemp to food does not create an adulterated food product, requires a report on or before December 1st, 2024. Arizona's Senate Bill 1098, passed in 2018, authorized a pilot program for the research, growth, and cultivation and marketing of industrial hemp and establishes the Industrial Hemp Trust Fund. It directs the Arizona Department of Agriculture to adopt rules for licensing, production, and management of hemp and hemp seeds. Also covers the fees, allows for commercial hemp production process and manufacturing. Arkansas, per 2017, creates the Arkansas Industrial Hemp Program, including a 10-year research program, authorizes the state plant board to adopt rules and administer the research program and license growers, requires the state plant board to provide an annual report starting December 31st, 2018, allows the University of Arkansas Division of Agriculture to develop, developmental commission to work with the state plant board, establishes a separate program fund. California allows for commercial hemp programs oversight by the Industrial Hemp Advisory Board within California's Department of Food and Agriculture, establish registration for seed breeders. This division will not become operative unless authorized under federal law. Colorado allows hemp cultivation for commercial and research purposes to be overseen by the Industrial Hemp Committee under the Department of Agriculture, establishes seed certification program, establishes a grant program as well for higher education. Connecticut creates an industrial hemp feasibility study which would report to the state legislature on January 1st, 2019. Delaware established an industrial hemp research program. Actually, let me back up to Connecticut. I think it's January. Created an industrial hemp feasibility study which will report to the state legislature on January 1st, 2014. It's got a 2014, parts of this report has been cut off. Delaware established an industrial hemp research program overseen by the Delaware Department of Agriculture and allows the department to certify institutions of higher education to cultivate hemp for research purposes. Florida directs the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services to authorize and oversee development of industrial hemp pilot projects. Certain universities, commercialization projects may be allowed after 2 years with certain conditions. Authorizes universities to develop pilot projects in partnership with public, nonprofit, and private entities. Requires the university to submit a report within pilot programs. So I guess it's has a certain year window. Hawaii establishes an industrial hemp pilot program overseen by Hawaii Department of Agriculture, allows the Board of Agriculture to seed to certified hemp seeds. Illinois creates an industrial hemp pilot program which allows the Illinois Department of Agriculture of the state institutions of higher education to grow hemp for research purposes. Requires institutions of higher education to provide annual reports to the department. Indiana allows the production and possession of hemp's licensed growers for commercial and research purposes. Growers and handlers of hemp seed must obtain a hemp seed production license. Nothing in this section allows anyone to violate federal law. Kansas creates an Alternative Crop Research Act. It's made to promote the research and development of industrial hemp, allows the Kansas Department of Agriculture, either alone or in coordination with a higher institute of higher education, to cultivate and promote research and development of industrial hemp, and then they'll have their directs KDA to oversee annual licensing, establish fees, and promulgate rules and regulations. Kentucky creates an industrial hemp research program, a commercial licensing program to allow hemp cultivation for any legal purpose. The commercial grower's license shall only be allowed subject to the legalization of hemp under federal law. Growers are required to use certified seed. Mandates the University of Kentucky Agriculture Experiment Station oversee a 5-year hemp research program. Creates the Industrial Hemp Commission attached to the Agriculture Experiment Station, overseeing, among other things, the licensing, testing, and implementation of regulations and rules related to hemp. Maine allows hemp growing for commercial purposes, establishes a license for seed distribution, and that was 2016. Maryland established a license allowing individuals on the pilot program to grow, harvest, possess, process, sell, or buy industrial hemp in Maryland. Authorized the Maryland Department of Agriculture or an institution of higher education to grow hemp for research purposes. Massachusetts allows for hemp to be planted, grown, harvested, possessed, bought, or sold for research or commercial purpose under the regulation of the Massachusetts Department of Agriculture Resources. Requires producers and distributors to obtain a license issued and for the purpose utilizing hemp for commercial or research purposes to register with MDAR. Michigan creates an industrial hemp research program allowing the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development and institutions of higher education to grow hemp for research purposes. Minnesota established a commercial hemp licensing program overseen by the Minnesota Commission of Agriculture. That was 2016. Applicants must prove they comply with all federal hemp regulations, meaning that commercial license may not be available until federal law changes. Wow. Allows the commissioner to implement an industrial hemp pilot program. Institution of higher education may apply to participate in the program. Missouri, House Bill 2034 in 2018, creates an industrial hemp agriculture pilot program in accordance with federal law to be implemented by the Missouri Department of Agriculture to study the growth, cultivation, processing, feeding, and marketing. Creates an industrial hemp fund, directs MDA to promulgate rules such as establishing permit and registration fees to implement the program, allows the Missouri Crop Improvement Association to establish the administration of seed certification program, specifies the food industrial hemp may not be considered adulterated. Montana allows the Montana Department of Agriculture to implement a commercial hemp licensing program, requires commercial growers to use certified seeds, requires a federal controlled substance registration from the DEA for affirmative defense against marijuana charges to apply. Nebraska allows a post-secondary institution or the Nebraska Department of Agriculture to grow hemp for research purposes. This is kind of crazy that in Nebraska it is a lot of ditchweed there, wild growing hemp, but their farmers are not still allowed to do anything with that. Hopefully Nebraska will move forward, allow their farmers an alternate crop other than corn. When the bottom falls out of the corn prices, they can hopefully do something with it. Let's see. Nevada mandates the Nevada mandates the Nevada Board of Agriculture to implement an industrial hemp pilot program, allows institutions of higher education and the Nevada Department of Agriculture to grow hemp for research purposes. New Hampshire allows institutions of higher education to cultivate hemp for research purposes. All research must be coordinated with the New Hampshire Department of Agriculture, Market, and Food. All research products must conclude within 3 years of commencement. That was 2016. Let's see, more from New Hampshire. It was a 2014 New Hampshire law. Chapter 18 establishes a committee to study the growth and sale of industrial hemp in New Hampshire. The study was required to report their findings by November 1st, 2014. New Jersey directs the New Jersey Department of Agriculture to create a pilot program to research industrial hemp cultivation, exempts anyone participating in the agriculture pilot program from crimes and penalties related to the purchase, sale, or cultivation. New Mexico, Senate Bill number 6, passed in 2017, directs the New Mexico Department of Agriculture to adopt rules for the research and development of industrial hemp, including for licensures, law enforcement training, inspections, record-keeping fees, and compliance processes. Establishes the New Mexico Industrial Hemp Research and Development Fund. New York Agriculture and Markets Law 505 to 508, and it says McKinney 2016, allows the growth of hemp as part of an agriculture pilot program by the Department of Agriculture and Markets and or institutions of higher education. The Commissioner of Agriculture and Markets authorized no more than 10 sites for growing hemp as part of a pilot program. The Commissioner may develop regulations to authorize the acquisition and possession of industrial hemp seeds. North Carolina. Now, North Carolina has been really busy. And let's see, creates an agriculture hemp pilot program overseen by the North Carolina Industrial Hemp Commission, and within the North Carolina Department of Agriculture, the commission collaborate with North Carolina State University and North Carolina. North Dakota allows hemp cultivation for commercial or research purposes overseen by the North Dakota Agriculture Commissioner. Growers must use certified seed. Licensees import, resell, and plant hemp seeds. Permits the North Dakota State University for the Market Research Center to conduct research on industrial hemp and hemp seeds. Oklahoma creates the Oklahoma Industrial Hemp Agriculture Pilot Program and revolving fund for the program, allows universities or subcontractors to cultivate industrial hemp for research and development purposes, directs the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food and Forestry to manage the pilot program, establishing a certified seed program, and promulgate rules related to licensing and inspections. Oregon allows individuals registered by the Oregon Department of Agriculture to grow hemp for commercial purposes. Growers and handlers who intend to sell or distribute seeds must be licensed as seed producers. Pennsylvania allows institutions of higher education or the Department of Agriculture of the Commonwealth to research hemp under industrial hemp pilot program. This chapter shall expire if the Secretary of Agriculture of the Commonwealth determines federal agency is authorized to regulate hemp. Rhode Island establishes a commercial hemp program overseen by the Department of Business Regulation, allow the Division of Agriculture and the Department of Environmental Management assist the Department of Business Regulations in regulating hemp. Growers must verify they are using certified seeds. The department shall authorize institutions of higher education to grow hemp for research purposes. South Carolina allows hemp growth for commercial and research purposes. Tennessee allows commercial hemp production overseen by the Tennessee Department of Agriculture. Direct the Commissioner of Agriculture to develop licensing rules for processors and distributors. Allows institutions of higher education to acquire and study seeds for research and possible certification. Utah allows the Utah Department of Agriculture for hemp, industrial hemp for research purposes, requires that the department certify institutions of higher education to grow hemp for research purposes. Vermont allows for commercial hemp production, oversight by the Vermont Secretary of Agriculture, requires the registration form advisor's application that hemp is still listed and regulated as cannabis under the Federal Controlled Substance Act. Virginia authorizes research and commercial hemp programs overseen by the Virginia Board of Agriculture and Consumer Services and the Virginia Commissioner of Agriculture and Human Services, the Commissioner must establish separate license for the research program and for commercial growers. Nothing in this chapter allows individuals to violate federal laws. Washington State allows hemp production as part of research programs overseen by Washington State Department of Agriculture, requires the department establish a seed certification program. West Virginia allows hemp production for commercial purposes by growers licensed by the West Virginia Commissioners of Agriculture. Growers must use seed which produce plant containing less than 1% THC. Once again, West Virginia, it has to just be less than 1%. Wisconsin directs the State Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protections to establish a state industrial hemp program, include GPS coordinations, fee payments, and criminal history searches requirements for licensors. Directs the DATCP to establish and administer a seed certification program or designate another agency or organization to administer the program. Required the pilot program specific exemptions from prosecution under the State Uniform Code Substance Act. Amends the definition of agriculture commodities to include industrial hemp. Wyoming, effective July 1st, 2017, authorized the planting, growing, harvesting, possession, processing, or sale of industrial hemp for licensed individuals. Provides for licensing requirements and rule-making authority by the State Department of Agriculture. Allows the University of Wyoming and the State Department of Agriculture to grow industrial hemp for research purposes. Provides an affirmative defense for marijuana possession or cultivation of marijuana for licensed industrial hemp growers. So that is a wrap of the different states, what they are doing, keeping in mind a lot more legislation is going on. This is March of 2019. There's 3 different bills that I'm aware of currently having to do with industrial hemp. We are still waiting on the federal government. In Washington, D.C., they passed the Farm Bill of 2018. Washington, D.C. passed the Farm Bill of 2018. So now we're waiting on their rulemaking to be sent down to us here in the states, in all the states, on what that will read like as far as deregulation. I know that the Department of Agriculture here in Tennessee, we went from 15 pages down to 4 pages of rules because it was hemp being removed and DEA is no longer involved. It's another a Schedule 1 to check the laws. I got contacted this weekend. Somebody was refused by a bank because they had hemp in the name of their business and the transaction fees. I have done another video about that sticky situation for banks trying to avoid prosecution under federal law, the drug trades and all of that, and it's going to take some education. Businesses across the United States, we're going to have to work with those folks. Law enforcement need to work with those folks, letting them know that we are, as far as hemp farmers, doing everything legal by the books. That's where it's very important that you have documentation records of your grower's permit, the processor's permits, the tests that are done on the crops proving that they're not above 0.3%. So we need to help law enforcement best as we can so we don't tie up a lot of time and troubles in the future. And hopefully with law enforcement, they are likewise trying to educate themselves on this plant, the process. A lot of farmers that are going to be growing this crop, and the more they know about it and reach out to those farmers and let them know that they know what's going on, it's going to be very helpful to us across the state, across the nation, as those many states start growing industrial hemp and start manufacturing for food, fiber, fuel. It's an amazing plant. It's really going to catapult a lot of our rural areas into a more sound financial situation, I believe. Yes, there's a big demand for it. Will it start to fade away as more and more people get to growing hemp? Yes, I think so, but that's where you need to look at your specialty markets for paper, for fiber, for construction. I mean, there's so many things on YouTube. There's a lot of videos if you want to learn about the different uses of the hemp plant, the fiber, the hurd, the oil. Certainly look that up. and I'm going to close for now. Certainly like, share, subscribe, ask your questions. Certainly do my best to get back to you with answers, but there is a lot of excitement in the state of Tennessee for industrial hemp. God bless and have a great day.